All right. So mine may look a little different than yours. We don't have the same questions, do we? Yes, no, maybe. That's okay. Zoomers, again, on the Edia app. You should have the same type of question, but maybe not the same numbers. So we're going to kind of work this together, and it's going to be a little bit weird. It was something we were trying. Next time we'll make sure to make it a quiz. So that's the problem right now is we didn't make it a quiz. We made it a homework assignment, which means it generates different numbers. All right, so we're going to do quite a few of these together. So again, we'll go with it this time and then we'll change it next time. So I apologize. So your first question is not the, no, it is, we're looking at Unit 1 review. Unit 1 review. So it doesn't even look the same? Okay. Wait just a minute. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to change it up. I'm hoping Miss Walter will get in here at some point. Let's see if this helps. Ugh, it still says the same thing. All right, let's just go back to the other one. All right, so here's what I'll do. I'll go through the ones that I have. You guys write it down, and then, or you can click through yours to see if you see one that's like it. That'll be the easiest way. But I would just write down how to do it. So this is your review for your test tomorrow, okay? So if we have one that looks like the one on my screen right now, I'm going to copy it down. And share separate. Now we know that this doesn't work the way that we want it to, and we won't do this again. Okay, so we have -6 equals -m minus 9. How do we solve that? Anybody can talk, okay? How do we solve it? What do we got to do? Times by 9. And then we know that 9 times -6 is -54. Our 9's cancel out, and we're left with -m. Remember, when we're solving equations, we don't have to worry about any kind of special rules or anything. We need to get rid of this negative, so we divide by -1. And we get m equals 54. Okay, so there's your first one. Your next one. Oh, this is all in the way. And I promise I won't do 40 of them. It's exactly the same way. 0 equals -y over 5. How do we solve it? Same thing we did. This is the same exact question. 5 times 0 is 0. And then same thing, divide by -1. It doesn't change anything, so we get 0. Okay. Let me look at the next one. It's the same thing. There's nothing any different about that one. Let's look at the next one. I'm going to copy it down, and then we'll move on. M over 8 minus 4 equals -2. We're solving for m, what's on the same side but not with it. So we're going to add 4 because we do the opposite. And we're going to mark that out. We get m over 8 equals positive 2. And remember, you guys can use your calculators as much as you want to. To finish this out, we have a divide 8. We do the opposite. So we're going to multiply 8. It'll cancel out and give us m. And then 2 times 8 is 16. Okay. Again, I think you guys are pretty good at solving. It's when we get to the inequalities, watch your signs, okay? That's the big thing. All right, let's check out another one. Negative b plus 19.4 equals negative 6.3. Again, this is a b. What's on the same side but not with b? A plus 19.4. How do we get rid of it? Subtract 19.4. Again, guys, you can use your calculators. I can do it in my head. I don't care. If you can do that most certainly. But if you can't, go ahead and use that calculator and you get negative 25.7. Your 19s cancel out and you're left with negative b. I can't have a negative right there. So remember, we always divide by negative 1. Some of you are not doing that. Divide by negative 1. And all that does is change the sign. So we would get b equals 25.7. Okay, give you a second to write it down. All right, looking at our next one. That one is exactly the same way, but now we're at inequalities. So I'm going to go ahead and do that one. Remember our rule for inequalities. Our rule for inequalities, if you divide or multiply by a negative, change the sign. So what's on the same side as y that I need to get rid of? How do I get rid of a minus 7? You're okay. That leaves me with y. I did not multiply or divide at all, so it just bring down that sign. And then negative 9 plus 7 is negative 2. Okay, really simple questions. All right. The next one we have is the same exact thing, so I'm going to skip over that one. We're going to look at question 8. I'm copying it down. 5b is less than or equal to 25. 5b is less than or equal to negative 25. I need to get rid of the 5. Remember that this is a multiply, so I'm going to divide 5 to get rid of it. Great job. And b is less than or equal to 5. I didn't multiply or divide by a negative, so I'm okay. Remember, when I say that, that's this number on the bottom. If this one is negative, but it's not, so we're good. Doesn't matter if that top number is, it matters at the bottom. Okay. Here's a good one. I'm going to write it down. Negative 7, or sorry, that's not what it is. 7 minus 7z is less than or equal to 77. So there's what we got. What's on the same side as z but not with it? And if you have to use your finger to cover it up, it makes it a little bit easier. So how do I get rid of a positive 7? Subtract 7 first. It's okay. It's okay. Remember that we have a negative 7z that we have to bring down. Less than or equal to 77 minus 7 is 70. We're going to divide by negative 7. Just what I told you, if that bottom number is negative, then we flip that inequality sign. So that's the part that we're messing up just a little bit. Your 7s cancel out and give you z. And then 70 divided by negative 7 is negative 10. Watch your signs, okay? Your test tomorrow is on EDIA, so watch like typing them in, Z's and whatever. Remember, it has to be Z less than or greater than or equal to -10. There's got to be a negative, not a minus. Be careful about those, okay? Watch how you type it in. I don't want you to lose points because you typed it in wrong. Okay? Look at your next one. It's kind of the same thing, but I'm going to go ahead and do it again. -2 minus n is greater than or equal to 9. So -2 minus n greater than or equal to 9. What's on the same side as n but not with it? How do I get rid of a -2? Add 2. So your 2's cancel out. You have a negative n that you're bringing down. Greater than or equal to 9 plus 2 is 11. Remember, when we have a negative in front, we're dividing by -1. If the number on the bottom is negative, we flip the sign. Your negatives cancel out, leaving you with just n. And 11 divided by -1 just changes the sign to -11. Okay. Any questions? All right. Let's see if I can get any really hard ones. Oh, here's some perimeters. Here's some perimeters. Guys, this is just like your test. So these are the exact same things you're going to have on your test, okay? So what we did, I'm going to go to my paper for a minute, is you will have 5 equations and 5 inequalities. That makes up goal 1. So 10 questions. Okay. Remember, if you don't like your score, what can you do? Retake it. Okay. So if you don't get 100, I'm not trying to be smart when I say this. If you don't get 100, it's your fault because you can go back and do it again. If you're happy with your grade, I'll not say anything. If it's below a 70, I'm gonna make you retake it anyway. Okay. So definitely 70 or above. And I would like for you to get 100. So it would be amazing. Okay. So there's your goal 1. So goal 2 is going to be about perimeter and some other stuff. So we're going to start with perimeter. It says a rectangle, and I'm just writing the problem down, with a perimeter of 34 has a width of 7. So this is what I wrote. Rectangle, perimeter is 34, width is 7. So we made some really easy ones, and we made some kind of hard ones too, okay? It wants to know, find the length, find the length. So the perimeter is 34. I told you I usually just put that in the middle. The width is 7, so if the left or the right is 7, the other side is 7. And then we don't know the length, so I'm just gonna put an X, and remember both of them are the same. Perimeter means add it all up. So X plus 7 plus X plus 7 gives you a perimeter of 34. It's looking a little blurry. Hold on. There we go. Add your like terms. I have 2 X's. I have positive 7 plus 7 is 14. Is going to equal 34. How do I solve this? Subtract 14. I get 2x equals 20. And then last step is divide by 2. Remember, on these, to solve for what they're asking for, we wanted the length. This is the length, so we're good to go. Okay. Everybody okay? The rectangles are pretty easy. All right, give you a minute to write that down. We have a rectangle with perimeter 12. We're again trying to find the length, so this one's the same, so I'm going to skip over it. Skip over that one. This one says find the width. Gosh, it's the same thing, okay? So a rectangle rectangle perimeter is 34. Length is 10, and we're looking for the width. We're looking for the width. So we have a rectangle. Length is 10, so that means the bottom's going to be 10 as well. We don't know the width. It's the same exact problem. Add it all up. 10 plus W plus 10 plus W is a perimeter of 34. Okay, again, remember, perimeter is add them all up. We have 2 W's, and then we have 10 plus 10, which is 20, equals 34. We're going to subtract our 20, and we get 2W equals 14, and then divide by 2. W equals 7. So our width is 7. Make sure if they have that W in the little choices, what I'm talking about. I'm going back. Okay, so just type in, you're just going to type in 7. Okay, not W equals 7 or anything like that, just 7. And I can go back and check them too as you guys finish them. Okay. That one's the same exact way. All right, these are just equations. It says the sum of twice a number. How do I write the sum of twice a number? Twice a number, how do I write that? So I'm writing it down, 2x. The sum means add, and 9 is 31. So the sum of twice a number, plus 9 is 31. How do I solve this? Subtract 9. 31 minus 9 is 22. Divide by 2, and x equals 11. So again, just set it up and go from there. Can I do split screen with this? I know y'all can't. Like, can I do that? How do I do it? You know what I'm talking about? Like where you have 2 screens on the same one? This one? Yeah. I don't want to make it too. Stop it. I think there's a different way to do it. Oh, there it was. Nope, I don't know what I just did. Say what? Yeah, but I want to see. I think I can just do it like this. This will be fun. All right. Go from here. All right, the next one, if you guys are looking at the next one, it says the difference of 5 times a number and 3 is 28. So what does difference mean? Subtract. So the difference means subtract. 5 times a number, how do I write that? And you can use, yeah, you can use X. Remember, anytime it says a number, it's X, N, P, Q, R, whatever variable you want to use. Okay, the difference between 5 times a number and 3 is equals to 28. How do we solve it? Add the 3. We get 5x equals 28, 29, 30, 31. And then we divide by 5. And this one is going to be a decimal, and that is perfectly fine. Remember, you can put it in as a decimal or a fraction, and you get 6.2. Okay, so just type in 6.2, or if you want to put in the fraction, that's fine as well. Okay, let's keep looking. All right, remember consecutive integers, just to let you know. I'll move the paper. If it's regular consecutive, we do x x plus 1, x plus 2, depending on how many it asked us to do. If you do consecutive, odd, or even, it's going to be x plus 2, x plus 4. So don't forget that. That's how you start it. If it's two numbers, it's just the first two. If it's three numbers, it's all three added together, okay? So the first one says find two consecutive integers. So we're working with this one, and we just need two. So those two, such that 6 times the smaller. Which one's the smallest, x or x plus 1? X. So 6 times the smaller is, we put it equal, 18 more than, 18 plus, 3 times the large. This is the big one. 3 times the large one was x plus 1. Okay, so the hardest thing is going to be setting it up. And then it's just solving. We've done variables on both sides. Remember, anytime we have parentheses, we're going to distribute. So we get 6x equals 18 plus 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 1 is 3. Add your like terms. 6x is fine. 18, 19, 20, 21 plus 3x. So we're just making it easy. I want to get my x's on the same side, so I'm going to move this 3. It's a plus, so I'm going to subtract it. 6 minus 3 is 3. And on the other side, we get 21. Finish it out. We're going to divide by 3, and x equals 7. I think you guys can solve it and you'll be fine. But look at what the question is. Find both of them. So in one, you'll type in 7. So x is 7. Remember, then we had x plus 1. And 7 plus 1 is 8. So you'll type in both numbers, okay? Just so you guys can see that. You will use both numbers. All right. Question 19 is the same way. 20 is even, so I'm going to go to that one, okay? Still the same thing, you're just setting it up a little different. All right, so if it's even, remember we start with x, and we go to x plus 2, okay? So this one's a small one, this one's a large one. Find two consecutive even integers such that 8 times the smaller is 140 more than 2 times the larger. This is the same exact problem. Same exact problem, we just have x plus 2 instead of x plus 1. So 8 times the smaller is x, is 140 more than, so 140 plus 2 times the largest one. The largest one was x plus 2. This is set up the same exact way. If you guys look at the other one, it's the same exact thing right there at the top. Just different numbers, okay? We're going to distribute our 2. We get 8x equals 140. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 2 is 4. We're going to add our like terms. We get 8x equals 140 plus 4 is 144 plus 2x. We're going to get our x's together, so I'm going to subtract this 2x, which gives me 6x. Last step, divide by 6. And in my calculator, it told me 24. It asked for 2 consecutive even. So remember I did x plus 2, which would be 24 plus 2 or 26. So in here you'll type 24, not there, 24 and 26. Okay, type both numbers. All right, so that one's exactly the same. So goal 2, I think it's goal 2. One of the other goals, I'll say that, is 5 perimeters and 5 consecutive integers. okay? 5 perimeter and 5 consecutive integers. So that's your goal 2, okay? You'll see tomorrow that it'll say goal 1 test, goal 2 test. So I think there's 3 or 4 tests tomorrow, but it's all 10 questions. So some of them are really quick. All right. Let's look at your next one. If there's 40 questions on the review, it's 40 for the whole total test, okay? Solving the equation, we've already went. Okay, this is literal equations. So goal 3 is literal or solving for y. And I think you have 5 literal and 5 solve for y. Okay. All right. So our first one that we have is z equals -7n. It just wants you to solve for n. So how do I get rid of that -7? Ignore that this is a z. How do I get rid of that -7? What are we doing between these two? Yes, we're multiplying, so we need to divide it. Your 7's cancel, and what you see is going to be your answer. N equals z over -7. It already has the n equals. You can do it this way. Z and then -7 will be fine. You can put the negative out front. I don't care where the negative goes, okay? If it makes you uncomfortable, just put it out to the front, all right? Number 22 says solve for y. So n equals, this is the same exact question, -16y. I need to get rid of the -16. So I'm going to divide. That gives me y equals n over -16. And like I said, if you want to put it where it's negative and then do your fraction, that's fine as well. Okay, so it's up to you, whatever you want to do. All right. This one is the same thing. Check out this one, question 24. NC plus B equals 1. We're trying to solve for C, so I'm going to cover it up. What's on the same side but not with it? Plus B. How do I get rid of a plus B? Subtract B. So these cancel out. I'm going to bring down my NC and then write what I see. 1 minus B. And then I need C by itself. So how do I get rid of N? If they're side by side, what operation am I doing? Multiply to get rid of it, divide. So divide by N. Divide all of this by N. So when we type it in, C equals, you can do 1 minus B over N. And you guys can use the letters on the keyboard. You don't have to use these, okay? It's up to you. It just makes it a little bit quicker. So it's going to look just like that. All right, look at this crazy one right here on 25, just to give you an example. It just groups these together. 8b minus 12 over y equals c. I'm going to solve for b. So if we cover up b, what's on the same side but not with it? This divide y. How do I get rid of a divide y? Times y. So again, don't worry that it's a letter. We can get rid of it the same exact way we would a number. That leaves me with 8b minus 12 equals cy. You can put the times symbol in there. It's going to count it exactly the same, okay? So don't stress about that. I need to solve for b. So what do I need to get rid of? Add 12. Write down what you see. I see 8b equals cy plus 12. And then the last step, how do I get this 8 by itself, or this b by itself? Not subtract, but divide. Okay, so anytime they're next to each other, to get rid of them, I always divide. And we're going to divide everything by that. So just to show you what it looks like, you're going to put it in cy plus 12, and then you can put over 8, and that will give you the correct answer. Okay, is everybody good? All right, so that's a little bit harder just because it has a lot of steps. And then you get to 26, and I told you half of them were solved for y, so then you get there. Remember our 2 steps for solving for y? One is to move x, and your second one is to divide everything by the number with y. So divide the number with y. So we're going to move x. It's a negative x. So we're going to make it a positive x. Bring down what you see, which is negative 7y. And then I always write my x first as a positive x and a positive 2, a positive 5x and a positive 2. Last thing is divide by y. So we're going to divide everything by negative 7. Our equation is y equals negative 5/7 x minus 2/7. You can put it in as plus negative 2/7. This is the thing I want you to remember. This x either has to go on the top with negative 5. So remember, we got to type in y equals. When we do this fraction, you can put the negative out front. You can put it inside. It doesn't matter. 5/7. But your x has to go either to the outside or it has to go at the 5. So when you type this in, as long as it is not on the bottom, you're going to be fine. All right, so there's one way you can type it in. You can put it up here with the 5 like this, and that is fine. You will get your answer. But if you put it on the bottom with that 7 like that, you're going to get it wrong. Okay, so make sure you put it in the correct spot. So it looks like this, and then you can do minus and then 2/7 will be perfect. And I don't even think that you have to reduce these, guys. So if it's something that you have to reduce, just type it in and see. It's not, I mean, you know, I'll look at all your wrong answers when you finish. So same thing, it says put it in slope intercept form. So don't be freaked out by that. Slope intercept form means just solve for y. So here's your next one. Negative 8x plus 14y equals 13. We're going to move x, so we change the sign to move it. We get 14y equals 8x plus 13. If you don't put your x first, it will still count it correct, okay? So don't stress about that, but our next unit, we want our x to be first. So that's why I keep telling you to put it first. Last thing is divide by y. And we get 8/14x plus 13/14. 8/14 will reduce, but I don't think you have to do it, so you can leave it just like that. Otherwise, if you want to reduce it, you can, but I do not think that you have to. Okay, so don't do any more work than you don't, you don't have to. Let's check out some more. Same thing, nothing crazy there. All right, so what if we get one with fractions? Ooh, sorry. We have 2/5 x minus 2/3 y equals -4. Don't freak out if you see this. Do the same steps. Move x, so it's a positive, so I'm going to subtract 2/5 x. It'll cancel out. Bring down what you see. Write your x first as a -2/5 x, and then it's a -4. We divide by the number with y. We're going to clean it up. Okay, here's how we clean it up. You can do this a couple ways. If you use like your alpha y equals where you can make your fraction, that would work. If you don't, all you have to do is put it in parentheses. So what I mean by that, right here, parenthesis, -2/5, divide, parenthesis, -2/3. That decimal will work. You can put in 0.6x, or you can change it to 3/5. So this is actually 3/5 x. You can use 0.6 because it's a terminating decimal. It's done. Okay. The other one is -4 divided by -2/3. Just put your fraction in parentheses and you get 6 plus 6. So use that calculator to simplify these. Don't freak out because they're fractions, because your calculator will do it for you. Okay. And then question 30 should be about the same. Yes. So same thing with fractions. All right. So then 31 is about functions. So remember, we have 3 ways to write functions. And again, there'll be 10 questions. You have a table, which will look like that. You have ordered pairs, which are coordinates, which are listed like this. And then I don't think there are any mappings on here. I'm gonna scroll down and check what I got. Nope. 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 All right. So then remember, you want no repeat x's. No repeat x's. And it has to pass the vertical line test. This will be your fastest one. Okay, so you have 5 determining functions and 5 evaluating. 5 determining whether it's a function or not, yes or no, and then 5 evaluating. All right, so it says which set of ordered pairs represents a function. Remember, no repeat x's. So if we look at the first one, we can see that -7 and -7 are repeated in the first one. So that one is not a function. We want the one that is. So we have -1, -3. There's a repeat -3. So number 2 is not the correct answer. On the next one, we have -9, +9, 5, and -3. None of those numbers are the same. So that one will be your answer. If we look at the last one, -3 is repeated. So we want the one that has no x's repeated. We don't care about the y's. It's real simple. Okay. Don't make it more complicated than it is. Remember, then the graph, you want to put vertical lines. So remember, I showed you how, like this one looks like this. If I take my notepad and I slide it across this graph, does it touch more than one point? On this one, it does not. So this one is a function. So this one would be yes. Okay. And again, it's because my notepad doesn't touch more than one. So if I look at the next one, it is U-shaped. As I move across, it does not touch more than one point. So this one is a function. But when I look at this one, and it looks like this, and I put my paper on there, you see that it touches right here, and it touches right here. This one is not a function, because if I draw a vertical line, it touches at more than one point. That makes sense? So this one is not a function. And then this one, same thing. It's like an S shape. If I put it on the graph, I'm touching right there and right there. Okay. So this one would not be a function. So anything that's got some kind of C shape to it is not going to be a function. All right, then the last 5 are evaluating. And remember, that's where we just plug it in. And I told you guys just to put it in your calculators. Okay, so type it in like you see it. We have 9. When you get to the X or a variable, you put in the number. So over there, it's a G of 0. So one more time, it's a G of 0. So that means plug that in to the X, -9. So you should get -9. It's cold.
doesn't feel like it's running.
Yeah, well, it's Monday. That typically happens.
It didn't get to the magical 55 degrees
Right.
where heat can come on.
Right. All right, so the next one, I'm going to do all of these so you guys can see it. We have a -2. We're going to put parentheses. They wanted us to plug in 7 plus 3. That's it, -11. You just type it straight in. Okay, look at your next one. Anywhere you see an X, you're going to plug in that number 8. So we had 10, parenthesis, 8, and then we have squared. Minus 10, instead of X, we're going to plug in 8. And then we have a +7. Don't make these harder than what they are. Literally let your calculator do the work, okay? And we get 567. And then 2 more. Sorry, y'all. 2 more. If it's a graph, we talked about this on Friday. If it's a graph, I don't know if y'all can or not. Zoomers, if you can see my mouse, I hope that you can. We look for 4 on the graph. So we're counting 1, 2, 3, 4 over. And we go up to where it crosses the graph. And it's right there at 2 on the y-axis. So what is that coordinate? We're looking at 4, 2. So our answer is 2. Okay. So find 4 and where it crosses the graph at. That's it. Okay. One more of those. We're looking for -2. Let me try to make this a little bit bigger since we're just looking at this. We're looking for -2. So over here at -2, we go up and count, and it looks like it's at 7, 5, 6, 7. So your answer would be 7. Any questions? Is everybody okay? All right. Zoomers, I'm going to stop sharing and stop recording.